Just as quickly as this came up, this particular graduate transfer situation could be resolved in relatively short order. Not long after it was confirmed that Joe Burrow would be transferring from Ohio State, reports had LSU and Cincinnati being granted permission to speak to the quarterback. A day later, Bruce Feldman of C.com reported that Burrow has a pair of visits lined up over the next few days, Thursday to Cincinnati, this weekend to LSU. It's also been reported that Arizona State, Arkansas and Wyoming are schools that have already shown some level of interest. There is also, however, speculation that Burrow could make his decision as early as this weekend, making it uncertain if those schools, or any other for that matter, get a visit from the sought-after grad transfer, who will have 2 years of eligibility remaining at whichever school at which he lands. Burrow was a four-star member of OSU's 2015 recruiting class who was rated as the number 8 dual-threat quarterback in the country, as J.T. Barrett's primary backup in 2016. Burrow completed 22 of his 28 pass attempts for 226 yards and a pair of touchdowns. He was the favorite to hold on to that job in 2017 as well, before he was sidelined with a broken bone in his right throwing hand. With Burrow sidelined for the first month of the Dwayne Haskins took over as the number 2 quarterback behind Barrett. Haskins completed 40 of his 57 pass attempts for 565 yards and 4 touchdowns in 8 games last, including a memorable relief appearance in yet another win over rival Michigan. The performance in the game helped solidify Haskins as the favorite to replace Barrett heading into the offseason. After apparently seeing the writing on the quarterback room wall, Burrow opted to leave the Buckeyes not long after the end of spring practice. Bill Simmons once coined the term the Tyson Zone, named after Mike Tyson and describing the phenomenon of when a public figure reaches a level of behavior so outlandish that any possible story about them would instantly be believed. Washington State head coach Mike Leach has been living in the Tyson Zone for years now, and Wednesday offered the latest example. The Spokane spokesman review detailed that Leach tagged along with a group of Washington lawmakers on a government trip to Cambodia, which included a tour of Cambodian government buildings and a visit with a number of high-ranking officials, including Prime Minister Hun Sen. Great trip. Productive meetings over several days. Prime Minister, President of Senate, Cabinet Ministers, Head of Soccer Association, Higher Ed and U.S. Embassy about opportunities for Cambodia and Washington State. pic.twitter.com/7QBLI87B. Michael Baumgartner at Vote. Baumgartner, May 9, 2018. Wazoo spokesman Bill Martin noted to the paper that Leach, with his assistant coaches on the road and his players taking a post-spring football break after final exams, paid his own way to join the convoy. He's someone who loves discovering new things. He loves to travel, Martin said. Yeah, I would say so. In mid-January, family reasons led Raylan Singleton to transfer from Houston. Nearly 4 months later, the Texas native has a new team decidedly closer to home. According to the Houston Chronicle, Singleton has decided to transfer to Houston to finish out his collegiate playing career, a graduate transfer, the third the program has added this offseason. Incidentally, the wide receiver will be eligible to play for the Cougars this coming. Singleton hails from Crosby, Texas, which is less than an hour drive to the UT campus. In addition to Singleton, Tennessee quarterback Quinton Dolmady here and Miami linebacker Darian Owens here have been added by Major Applewhite as grad transfers since the 2017 ended. The past twos, Singleton was the Utes' second leading receiver yards-wise. He had 36 receptions for 531 yards and 4 touchdowns this past, and went 2.7-4.6-4.4 in 2016. The Cougars are looking to replace Lionel Dunbar 7.3-8.50-4 and Stephen Dunbar 6.6-8.7-3.3, their 2 leading receivers from a year ago. Their leading returning receiver, quarterback Derek King, who had 29 catches for 264 yards and a pair of receiving touchdowns. Don't hold your breath for a renewal of the Pitt-Penn State rivalry anytime soon beyond its current agreement. As it stands now, the Panthers and Nittany Lions are scheduled to play this and next. After that, the in-state rivalry will again go dark. Late last month, Pitt athletic director Heather Lyght stated publicly that she had proposed a 4-year home-and-home series beginning in 2026 to her Penn State counterpart, Sandy Barber, but that athletic department had not yet responded to the offer. Speaking Tuesday, Barber indicated that a renewal likely isn't the cards for at least a dozen years. From the Center Daily Times, an extension of the storied series might be revisited at some point after 2030, Nittany Lions athletic director Sandy Barber said Tuesday at Penn State's first coaches caravan stop. But in the short term, relatively speaking, another renewal isn't in the cards. We've had conversations, Barber said at the New Yorker hotel. I think at this point we've both agreed that based on Big Ten and ACC scheduling principles, and it's a complicating puzzle nowadays, that we're probably not going to do anything at this point. Th2 football programs have met 98 times previously, including every from 1935 through 1992. A 4-year renewal from 1997 to 2000 gave way to a decade-and-a-half sabbatical that ended with the current 4-game series kicking off in 2016. This year's game will be played September 8 at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. In 2019, the last game of the current contract will be played September 14 in State College. Add Texas Tech to the growing list of FBS teams that have experienced the annual rite of post-spring roster attrition. After much consideration and conversations with my family, DeMarcus Felton wrote on his personal Twitter account, I have decided to graduate from Texas Tech University and transfer to compete in my final of eligibility at another institution. As a graduate transfer, the 5th-year senior running back would be eligible to play immediately at another FBS school in 2018, his final of eligibility. pic.twitter.com/zoovp302pb, DeMarcus Felton at Feltonium27 May 7, 2018 Felton, a 3-star 2014 signee, played in 35 games for the Red Raiders the past 3s, with 12 of those appearances coming this past. He started a pair of games during his time in Lubbock, with both of those coming in 2016. In those 3s, Felton ran for 529 yards and 4 touchdowns while catching 9 passes for another 44 yards. His best statistically came in 2016 when he ran for 354 yards, a total that was second on the team that year.